start with our shameless plugs.
Yes, we do. Let's roll it.
First technical difficulty. There you go.
That Juan Valdez and his trusty goat gather coffee beans every morning.
So
that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
I agree, Beavis.
All right. The first shameless plug is the business, my main focus, which is Rough Riders. It is a dog rescue nonprofit. We pull dogs from kill shelters all along the West Coast, bring them up to this area, find them homes, give them fosters. We're always raising money. We've got some great fundraising opportunities. And then, of course, anybody who's looking for a dog, we are adopting dogs out. So definitely recommend you check out our website at roughriders.org and support us, listen to our podcast over there. And if you can donate and help us out to save more dogs, that is, of course, always appreciated. Aside from that, Tony has his own, not his own, but another pop culture show that he contributes to on Sundays. It's another live show. If you want to give us a little more information on that, Tone.
Yeah, if you guys are tuning in, I do a show with my buddy Jimmy Jones. We broadcast Pop Culture Kaboom radio show, and that airs in Carson City. And of course, at this point, you'd think I'd have it all down, which I do. It's a little slower. So you can check us out. We're streaming from the West Coast, so Pacific Standard Time. Pop Culture Kaboom can be listened to on 95.1 KNVC, Carson City Radio. That's out of Nevada. And you can also stream it live to the world. So follow Jimmy and myself on Pop Culture Kaboom. I do the movie reviews. We pick out a handful of trailers and we give the goods. If they're good, we give them good. If they're okay, it's a blah. If it's so wretched that you just would not see it in theaters, we give it a wet, gushy touch brown. So tune in. It's a lot of fun. This week we had one movie, and next week we'll be covering It Chapter 2. Not a whole lot, but we do get to discuss a lot, and you never know where I'm going to be. Sundays seem to be a really busy night when we do the show. I just did the last episode from a bathroom stall at the Pepsi Center here in Denver.
Did you really?
Alice in Chains. Yeah, Alice in Chains was playing, and I was in the stall, ear like this, doing the radio show. A guy next to me is like, "Hey, this guy's talking movies here. Hey, shut up." So, tune into that if you like all that wonderful stuff. 95.1 KMBC. Tune in.
You could have had your own Touch Brown live.
Yeah, definitely. Literally. That was what was going on next to me.
The next one is TotallyRad1981.com. It is our sister site.
Sister.
At this point, everything's pointed over to Instagram. From there, we put up old... which way are you pointing, Tom?
I'm watching myself on the picture. I'm like pointing at the Totally Rad logo. So just look at me being a dork.
In any case, on Instagram, we post old, show intros, commercials, cartoon intros, all of the stuff we basically grew up with in the 1980s and 1990s, the eras that we enjoyed as kids. And so check it out. We are revamping a little bit. It's going to be somewhat along the lines of what we're doing here. As far as the live stream aspect goes. So little hint for you right there.
Excellent.
All right. And then finally, the last shameless plug is that Tony and I are going to have a booth at the Reno Pop Culture Con, November 8th through the 10th, over at the Reno Event Center. And we're going to be out there doing a live show, trying to get some interviews with some fans, guests, you name it. The Pop Culture Con has actually some pretty cool guests that they've announced so far. You've got Ray Park, who was Darth Maul, Summer Glau from Firefly, and then the big one that was just announced recently was Iceman himself, Val Kilmer. And so I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Well, there you go. Not that Batman, but a Batman. Not the worst.
It's turning good. You know, the one that's putting on the Reno Pop Culture Con is the same group that's been putting on the Denver Pop Culture Con the last couple of years. And they do a really good job. So very excited to be a part of it. And we look forward to meeting you guys. If you're going to be there, come say hi. We'll have a booth. Hopefully we'll have some goodies to hand out. And tell us either like, hey, get better with your videos, whatever. But don't judge. It's really the first time we're doing this.
Yeah, this is the first live show. We've tried a couple videos in the past that some have been better than others, but figure, screw it. Let's do it live and figure it out along the way. All right. That does it for our shameless plugs. We are going to get into TV news as we do each and every week.
Bazinga! Oh! The cream of the crop!
Hey, baby.
Let's go, Bob. Excellent. Hail to the king.
All right. I don't know if those intros are coming through as well on this system as they were on the other one. But
no, I think the new thing where you sound clip.
Ruining the surprise. No, we had mentioned a number of episodes back that Kevin Smith, who we're a big fan of, Skewverse, and obviously we're looking forward to Jay and Silent Bob reboot. He had mentioned in a tweet that he was working on a big property, something that he couldn't talk about at the time. And it looks like we know now what that is. And as Tony alluded to, we've got confirmation that Kevin Smith is executive producing, acting as showrunner for a brand new Masters of the Universe series, cartoon series on Netflix. It's called Masters of the Universe Revelation, and it is picking up as a direct sequel to the Funimation old 1980s Masters of the Universe we grew up with.
Yeah, it's going to be along as same art styles as the Netflix Castlevania series.
Yep.
From there. So good animation. If you're a fan of HeMan, apparently my Aunt Sonia told me I was a diehard HeMan fan. So I did love it growing up. I look forward to doing this, especially with Kevin Smith behind the helm. This should be really entertaining.
Yeah, it should be fun. And we actually have an official synopsis as well. It says, a radical return to Eternia. Revelation is a direct sequel series to the classic era of Masters of the Universe, featuring fan favorites He-Man, Orko, Cringer, and Man-at-Arms. The story pits our heroic warriors and guardians of Castle Grayskull against Skeletor, Evelyn, Beastman, and the vile legions of Snake Mountain. But after a
I hope Skunk Man's back.
Oh, they'll all be back. But after a ferocious final battle forever fractures Eternia, it's up to Teela to solve the mystery of the missing Sword of Power in a race against time to prevent the end of the universe. Her journey will uncover the secrets of Grayskull at last. This is the epic He-Man and Masters of the Universe saga fans have waited 35 years to see. So I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, Netflix, they're losing some properties that belong to other studios. So it's up to them to make some good new original content. And I think that this will be just another one of those.
Oh, yeah. What an absolute, surprise. Kevin Smith has kept this tight-lipped. He's kind of joked, done cryptic tweets and things about saying he'd be a part of some type of big franchise, but he didn't want to jinx it yet. And I'm assuming that's what this is. So it should be awesome. Yeah.
Yep. Looking forward to it. And he announced it at PowerCon, which is another convention I'm not familiar with. Definitely not D23. Speaking of D23, we have just a ton of news about that. So, really sit down, relax. If you haven't heard all of the fun stuff that came out of it over the weekend. We'll get you up to speed on that. The first of that is that Spidey and his amazing friends are coming to Disney Junior in 2021.
SpiderMan and his amazing friends.
So it's a CG animated show. You've got Peter Parker with his friends Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy, and they're going to team up with Hulk, Black Panther, Miss Marvel, and more to defeat evil foes and learn that teamwork is the best way to save the day. Obviously, with it being on Disney Junior, it's a preschool themed show. So, don't expect any massive narrative or, violent action. It's going to be more of a kiddie show. But, if my kids were that preschool age still, it's one I'd show them.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you got some youngsters, you want to get them in, there you go.
And the interesting thing, and we'll talk about this a little bit later on, is that, this is a show from Marvel. Sony owns the film rights, but Marvel owns all of the other rights. So they're able to make the television show, even though they don't own the film rights.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy how they just won't do that. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Yep. All right. With more on D23, as soon as my screen switches on over. There we go. All right. So the big focus of D23 was obviously the Disney Plus streaming service. It is coming out in November, right around the corner. We already know a number of the shows that were announced for it, but there's so much more that just came out over the D23 conference. I'm going to run down a few of the little ones and then obviously hit upon the big ones. We've got on the Disney camp, Forky Asks a Question, obviously starring Forky, voiced by Tony Hale. Don't know much about it beyond that. We have a Monsters University, Monsters Inc. show called Monsters at Work. We do know that we've got John Goodman and... Sorry, it's 10:30 and my brain is not fully working. Billy Crystal coming back to voice their characters.
Yes, this is late. Normally we do this a little earlier, but we're doing this a little on the late side, a little on the tired side. So
exactly.
You never know what you're going to get with us on the Proton Pack.
We know about all of the Marvel shows that'll tie into the MCU and the actors and characters that will be coming back from that. But on the Marvel Studios side, we did get an announcement of 3 brand new shows that are going to be coming out. The first one is Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel is Kamala Khan, a relatively new character within the Marvel universe, at least this iteration. Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, as we know her right now, she was the previous Miss Marvel. There's been a couple other versions, but this one's a little bit different. And I actually am not familiar with what her powers are in the comic books. I don't know much about her. I really stopped reading that before, when Carol Danvers was Miss Marvel.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to it. I don't know anything about Miss Marvel. So for me on that end, I'm going to have to give myself a... I just don't know. I'm sure it's going to be cool. It's going to be like any of the other shows that popped up on Netflix, where, Jessica Jones. I didn't know nothing about Jessica Jones, but I watched the show and it's pretty damn badass. So. Yeah,
actually one of the better of the Marvel Netflix shows. The other one we're getting is Jennifer Walters. Jennifer Walters, better known as She-Hulk. Bruce Banner's cousin. She's a lawyer. She becomes, green with gamma radiation, has super strength, but obviously doesn't become the big dopey version of a Hulk. She retains all of her mental ability. So we're getting a version of that. And then finally, the one that I'm excited about is we are getting Moon Knight. Moon Knight is one of the lesser-known Marvel characters. He was a mercenary that was left for dead named Mark Spector. And for a lot of comic book fans, they would equate him to being the Marvel character that's closest to Batman. So, I would expect something gritty and dark and maybe even somewhat violent.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Moon Knight.
So those were the new Marvel shows that were announced over D23.
One quick thing on She-Hulk. They're going to introduce Red Hulk in that show. What is his name? Dr. Ross. He's going
Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, he's going to
General
Red Hulk in there. So,
hey,
it's cool stuff.
As far as I heard, they were originally trying to make that happen in Avengers Endgame, but there was just so much going on that was one thing that they just didn't want to pile on top of everything else. Yeah. Another show that I'm excited about that's coming to Disney Plus is Muppets Now. It's an unscripted short form series from the Muppets. And, if you're thinking unscripted and Muppets, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if you've ever seen the actors just riff with each other and have fun through the characters that they're controlling, you'll know that this will probably work out really well. It's not an hour-long show. It's probably not a half hour long. I would imagine each episode is 10, maybe 15 minutes at the most.
Yeah, Mike. As long as Sweetums isn't in it, that dude gives me freaking nightmares.
I would bet Sweetums is probably in it.
No.
All right. On the Star Wars side of Disney, we know that we're getting Star Wars The Clone Wars, at least the final season of that. We are getting a Cassian Andor Rogue One series with Alan Tudyk coming back as K2SO and Diego Luna. And then
He said Alan. That's why I'm laughing.
Oh, okay. Not Tudyk.
Yeah.
All right. And then the big thing to come out, well, one of the big things to come out of D23 was the first official trailer for The Mandalorian. This is the Star Wars series
Ironically enough, the trailer's playing right in the back here.
There you go. Produced, directed, show run by Jon Favreau, who obviously, got the Marvel Cinematic Universe started with Iron Man.
And if you don't know who he is, ladies and gentlemen, he plays Happy in the latest Spider-Man and previous MCU movies.
Exactly.
He's banging Aunt May.
Check out the trailer. It looks so good. I mean,
so good. It's awesome. I love how it starts. I mean, you can't really see so much in the video. It's probably a little blurry in my hand. I'm looking at it from a different angle. So right here, with the way it starts is like the stormtrooper helmets are on the spikes as if they're head skulls. Just this trope. Pretty awesome.
Right.
Looks like it's movie quality. Like it's got all the feels, man.
I had heard it's the most expensive television series ever to date. I mean, and this is bigger budget, bigger quality than even like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, well, it looks fantastic. The trailer's up on our page. Scroll down through all the news articles. It's somewhere on there. But yeah, check it out. I mean, it comes out November 12th when Disney Plus launches. So gonna be awesome. Definitely I mean, I haven't seen it, but as a Star Wars fan, you're gonna end up checking this out. So
and if you're not a Star Wars fan and you're thinking Mandalorian, isn't that a small stringed instrument? No, Mandalorian is the race of creatures or people in the Star Wars universe that are bounty hunters. And so if you know Boba Fett's probably the most famous of the Mandalorians. No word yet if this character is actually Boba Fett, different character altogether, if they're going to cross paths. We don't know. You just got to watch and figure it out. And then finally, the last big reveal of D23 in regards to Disney Plus and Star Wars is that Ewan McGregor is coming back to reprise his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi in a limited Disney Plus series titled Kenobi. And
that's what you need. Limited is perfect.
Yep. And it takes place, Tony had sent me a timeline a couple days ago, takes place right after the events of Star Wars Episode 3. So, you basically get to follow Ben Kenobi or Obi-Wan Kenobi in exile and see his adventures to the point where he becomes a hermit and somehow turns into Sir Alec Guinness.
You are the chosen one. I don't have any sound bites for Ewan this week, so
I am shocked.
Are you?
I am.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
I have Palpatine though.
Maybe we can use that later. Hint, hint.
Hint, hint. Oh, good job. Oh, I did have one. Good job.
Good job.
There you go. That works. All right. And then hold on, let me make sure I'm following the order here pretty quick. All right.
There's so much and you guys, we did share the article. I know we want to keep our podcast and our streaming to a minimum. We don't want to make this a long video for you. We know the attention span for everybody's a little short, not always, but sometimes. But you can check out the article on our Proton Pack page. There is a lot of stuff coming out on good old Disney Plus that there's so much we can't cover everything.
Yep.
But, yeah, we do have that up. Star Wars Clone Wars, the final season is going to be on there too. So
it's going to be on our Facebook page. That's awesome.
No, it's going to be on Disney Plus.
No, I know.
Oh boy.
But that is a good reminder that, if you are watching this live on Facebook, make sure you like the page, subscribe to the podcast, give us feedback. We always love the feedback. Roger.
Roger. I hit that a minute ago.
And then the last big thing to come out of D23 in regards to Disney Plus is that they are offering a exclusive price to D23 members for Disney Plus. So Disney Plus, we already know was going to be $6.99 per month, which is nothing. I mean, so much content, so much good stuff for only $6.99. Through D23's website, all you have to do is go on d23.com, become a general member, totally free. You will get an offer for a 3-year Disney Plus subscription at $4 per month.
Dang.
Yeah. You're saving $23 per year. You have to buy it in annual chunks. So you would pay, the first year up front. But the first year is only going to cost you $46.99.
How do you not do it? That's just good.
Okay.
That's just a good deal right there.
Yep. So again, to get that exclusive offer, you go to d23.com, sign up for the general membership, and then from there they will email you the link so that way you can redeem it. And again, pay just $4 per month for Disney Plus for the first 3 years.
That's such a good deal, man. This service is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, can't wait. And then they did announce too that Disney Plus won't have any of the R-rated, so that'll be on Hulu. Likely, they didn't officially say that, but they said more than likely. So
yeah, so you're not going to get Alien, Predator, or even Deadpool on Disney Plus. Maybe the PG-13 version of Deadpool 2, but we'll see. We'll see there. All right, moving on to the next thing, which also came out of D23. Not TV or movie related, but actually Disney park related, is that in Florida, Disney World in Orlando, they are getting ready to start construction of what they call a new first of its kind vacation experience where guests will check in for a 2-night adventure aboard a glamorous starship. And I mean, if you're watching the video, you can see the artist rendering. It's essentially a hotel that is modeled after a starship, and it's being called the Halcyon of Chandrila Starline. And I mean, talk about an immersive experience. That's going to be awesome once it's finally revealed.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be way good and very pricey. So start saving your money.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anything Disney related is going to be very expensive.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. And then speaking of Disney parks, and just by pure luck, I guess, I was actually down in Anaheim over the weekend. It was my oldest son's birthday, and we took him to Disneyland on Sunday, last day of D23. Totally expected it to be just crazy busy, and surprisingly, it wasn't. It was we were able to get on all the rides we wanted to, some multiple times, and just so cool to see the brand new Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Hey, gosh.
It was literally like stepping onto a Star Wars set. All of the set dressing, everything was awesome. And they make it a really cool interactive experience. You have a full-size Millennium Falcon there. You've got a full-size X-Wing. You also have a Kylo Ren ship as well. We did the Smuggler's Run a couple times, which was a lot of fun. Currently, that is the only attraction they have there, or the only ride they have there. They're working on a roller coaster. But on top of all of that, there was also, if you get the Disney Play app, you can download a data pad, and there's all kinds of things you can do that are interactive in the area. So, you can join missions to help the Resistance, join missions to help the First Order. You can hack droids that are around the area. You can translate the languages. In the Smuggler's Run, there's a bunch of things that it gives you to do while you're waiting in line. Obviously makes the waiting that much easier. So cool. I mean, just a fun, interactive experience. I should have grabbed it. I got one of the thermal detonator Coca-Cola bottles,
which are banned on TSA flights, by the way. Now
I had heard that
in the article, like right after we took air, I saw it, but we had so many news. I'm like, man, but it managed to make its way in.
Well, the good news is I drove back, so I didn't have to worry about that. But it's just awesome, and again, Disneyland being expensive, if we had a bunch of money to spend on it, we totally would have done the build your own lightsaber or, build a droid. But you could waste a whole day in just Galaxy's Edge.
No, I can't wait to go. I was outside of the Disney World version this last June, and you can see it from Toy Story Land, riding Slinky Dog. You can see it, but have not been there yet. Definitely jealous. If you guys have been there, feel free to chime in what you guys think about it below in the comments. And I'm very excited to do that, and look forward to next time. Hopefully, like even Star Tours will have episode 9 stuff in there. That'd be cool too.
Yeah. And we definitely did Star Tours. It still holds up. Still so much fun. And actually, the lines were shorter now than ever before, because most of the people are over at Galaxy's Edge trying to get into Smuggler's Run.
That's always great.
Always good. All right. That does it for our TV, mostly D23 wrap up. We're going to go ahead and head on to movies with our weekend box office report.
Weekly box office report. See, I was going to get in the movie button, but we're doing the box office report. You think I'd have this ready? My computer's lagging, but here we go. This is the fun part of the show. We just get to talk movies.
Just talk movies. Yep.
Talk movies. That's all we want.
Of course, I'm over here closing windows while we do that. All right. Over the weekend, we had a new number one, a movie I haven't had a chance to see yet, but definitely will. I loved the first two movies in the entry, and I'm talking Angel Has Fallen, which brings Gerard Butler back as Mike Banning. Seems to always be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And then you've got, obviously, Morgan Freeman, who is reprising his role as the president when he took over after Olympus Has Fallen. Movie made $21.2 million in its opening weekend. Definitely fell behind the first two movies by a little bit, but given it's in August and there's not a lot of huge releases coming out, that was pretty reasonable for them to make, especially at a number one spot.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to see it yet, Tone? Or?
No, not yet. Okay. No.
All right. I know you've seen the second place movie, which is the R-rated comedy Good Boys, and it made $11.7 million. If you want to give us just a quick little review.
Yeah, the movie was funny as and then that happened, and then okay, that was my review.
All right, good.
I'm just kidding. Basically, to give you a bite-sized review, if you like Superbad, it's basically Superbad with kids, produced by Seth Rogen. You can expect a lot of cussing, a lot of sexual innuendo, and a lot of drug references. Even with kids, they find a way to tiptoe it. It's a good date movie. I enjoyed it. It was very funny. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
Nice. Third place was a movie I did not know existed. Apparently, it is a faith-based, PG-rated drama called Overcomer with $8.2 million. Yep. In fourth,
never heard of it, so I don't know.
Me neither. In fourth place was the Disney live-action remake of The Lion King, made another $8.1 million, jacking up that total to $1.5 billion worldwide.
Man, that movie just straight tanked at the office. What a piece of garbage that was, huh?
Another Jon Favreau directed property. So, again, if you like The Lion King, you'll probably like The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I'm actually going to see The Lion King on Friday. So I don't know when the podcast version of this comes out, but I'll be seeing that, and I'll have a review up here this weekend on that one.
Nice.
The party.
Speaking of late to the party, I finally got to see what's in fifth place this week, which is the Fast and Furious spinoff, Hobbs and Shaw. Made $8.1 million. Say what?
What did you see?
Hobbs and Shaw.
Or Saw.
Trying to set yourself up there for the soundbite.
Yes,
Nice.
sir.
Nice. I really enjoyed this movie. Obviously stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Jason Statham. Had some great bit parts from Ryan Reynolds and Kevin Hart. So good. Directed by Deadpool director, John Wick director David Leitch. Obviously sets up for a sequel if you see it. Again, if you do see it, there are mid-credit sequences, end-credit sequences. Just a fun movie overall.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to join you on that one, and went in expecting kind of low. If you're going in to expect another Fast and the Furious movie, you're not going to get that with this. While there are elements and the characters are out of the universe, it reminded me more of a modern day Lethal Weapon type movie.
Yeah.
Very good flick though. Enjoy the heck out of it. If you're looking for just one of those fun, no nonsense, goofball-y action. And when I say goofball-y, I mean the ridiculous stuff that if that was real life, there's no effing way.
No, yeah.
The Rock would hold a helicopter and the truck. So he's a tough son of a gun, but there's no way he's holding on to two things. But if you don't care about that stuff, you know what? It is a damn good movie to see in the theater. Thumbs up.
Yep. Definitely worth checking out. In sixth place is an R-rated horror movie that I just started seeing previews for maybe a week or two before it was released. Looks really good. It's getting great reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm talking about Ready or Not, and it opened with $7.5 million.
Yeah. I thought the girl in the trailer, I thought it was Margot Robbie. I was wrong.
It's not.
Another
It's
Australian girl that looks very similar.
Yep, Samara Weaving. If you ever saw The Babysitter on Netflix, that's where
Oh,
she's
is that
from.
where she's from?
Yeah, yeah.
I did watch The Babysitter on Netflix.
Yeah, that was a fun horror movie too. All right, seventh place was the animated sequel Angry Birds Movie 2 with 6.3 million. My boys saw that; they enjoyed it. I thought the first one was decent enough, but definitely no Pixar, not a DreamWorks movie, but they did pretty good.
I wouldn't imagine 27 million is much to recoup what it probably cost to make. So
yes, yeah. Let's see. In eighth place was a movie that you saw that, again, another horror movie that I want to see. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Guillermo del Toro with 6 million. Book series that I grew up just loving. What did you think of the movie?
I liked it. I was wondering how they were going to incorporate, because they were broken into so many different stories. How are you going to make? Are you just going to pick one story and make
Right.
it focus, or is it going to be like a Goosebumps type movie? I haven't wrote my horrible review yet, so I'll just do it first on the show. I liked it. I thought it was very entertaining. It was creepy. And it's definitely, I don't know if you really need to go to theaters to see it, but definitely like a Netflix, like at home watch or a matinee. If you can catch it at a matinee, definitely. I caught it on a matinee today and it was inexpensive. I do want to share one scene though, because this, like, if you hate spiders, you hate spiders.
Oh, I hate spiders.
You freak you out?
Yes.
This shit's going to scare you then.
Is it?
So, yeah, well, I'm going to tell you about this.
Like arachnophobia level scared?
Yeah, maybe should I tell you? Should I just, you go see it? I'm not going to spoil it.
Don't spoil it. I want to go see it.
I want to spoil it. There's a spider scene in there. You'll know what I'm talking about. Creepy. So if you hate spiders, that's going to give you the heebie-jeebies. But other than that, I thought, if I didn't really follow the books. I mean, they had the stories, like they had Harold the Scarecrow, and they had the girl who lost my toe. And then it turns out it was my dad's ex-girlfriend.
There you go.
And then there was there's this creepy when Sarah, like, and so basically the premise of the movie is, these kids, they go into a haunted house that it was from the legendary, Sarah Bellows, where she was murdered by her family, and she wrote this book, and then they took the book out of the house, and then everyone that was in the house was cursed, and then Sarah was writing the stories. I don't know why I'm doing this, but they were writing the stories and they came to life. But there's this one scene in the movie where there's like this Sarah chick, and she's all fat and just like her face is goofy, and she looks like the Momo that you see on
yeah
it looks kind of like the Momo, and there's this poor kid stuck, and you got 4 of these fat Sarah Momo things coming at him. It might haunt my dreams later, I don't know, but overall I liked it. I thought it was good. I mean, don't pay full price, but I don't want to spoil it too much for you, because it's one of those movies you watch it and you're kind of like, okay, that's pretty cool. But then the more you start thinking about it, the more I'm just going to tease you and say, go see it, especially the spider thing. We went on a long rant with that.
We did a little bit. That's okay. Real quick, we're going to round out our top 10 at the box office. Ninth place with 5.2 million was Dora and the Lost City of Gold. And
we did it. Yeah, we did it. I don't have the soundbite. I just give you that shit. Oh, you need this soundbite though. In all seriousness, if you grew up and you're a Dora fan, from what I hear, it's real tongue-in-cheek. It's actually kind of funny. You'll probably enjoy it. We just like to rag on it because we ain't seeing it.
Nope. Not going to happen. All right. And then rounding out the top 10 is the Quentin Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, with 5 million. Again, the highest grossing non-sequel, remake, reboot, basically original movie of 2019. So good for you, Quentin Tarantino. If
That's
you
all I got too. I want to see it. I really do. I still haven't. The theater by my house, they already got rid of that and Dora. Those two already.
Coming up this week, there's not a whole lot coming out. There's a Jillian Bell comedy called Brittany Runs a Marathon. So if any of those movies were ones that you wanted to catch up on, this would be the week to do it.
Week. There is one that comes out this week that we covered on Pop Culture Kaboom. It was called Don't Let Go, and is from the guys, producers that did Get Out, and it looks really good. So check out the trailer for Don't Let Go and make a decision. The basic synopsis is Detective Jack Radcliffe gets a shocking phone call from his recently murdered niece Ashley, and working together across time, they race to solve her murder before it can happen. So it kind of sets up the trailer. You're watching it. It kind of looks like a spoiler because you're like, oh, great. It's a typical cop, his niece gets murdered. But then since it's done from Blumhouse, or is it Bloomhouse? I could be screwing that up.
Either way.
I was like, oh, it's going to be a horror movie. It's going to be like a demented demon child, and he's going to get roped into the underworld. But that's not it. He gets a call from her after she's dead, and she's like, what are you doing, Uncle Jack? He goes, who is this? And she goes, who do you think it is? And it turns out like Uncle Jack's 2 weeks in the future, and the phone call is 2 weeks in the past. So they're trying to work together. So then the trailer actually looks pretty cool. So, take it for what it's worth. I watched the trailer today before Scary Stories, and didn't look half bad.
All right. Might be worth checking out.
And hint, I put it as a matinee. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Moving on from the box office report to our, I guess you would call it our second trailer a week, considering Mandalorian was the first. We got a brand new trailer for. Why is this not so?
Until something works.
There we go. And of course, it skipped ahead.
Bitch.
Always fun. Any case, we are talking about a brand new trailer for Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. And
something Skywalker.
Revealed a lot more. We got a brand new poster, and we even got a glimpse of what could be a Rey that has switched over to the dark side. And she's got this crazy, like, dual red lightsaber that flips open into something similar to what Darth Maul had. Trailer's up on our Facebook page. Go over there, check it out if you haven't seen it yet. If you're
live streaming, guess what's right here? Playing as we talking about it.
It's almost like we timed it that way.
Roger.
But it looks so good. Opens up on my birthday, December 20th. J.J. Abrams back at the helm. He is.
What day does it open?
December 20th.
Which is
my.
It's my birthday!
I just wanted to squeeze that in.
There you go. J.J. Abrams is fixing some of the mistakes from The Last Jedi. We see Carrie Fisher in the movie, and they actually used footage from The Force Awakens for this movie. So it's not like you're getting a CG version of her. It's actually her playing her own character.
Yeah, it looks really cool. And when this trailer dropped too after D23, I initially was concerned like it was kind of a fake. Sometimes people leak and they just get the clickbait on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was showing all the classic films, I go, this ain't the trailer, man. What the heck? It's just a recap. And then all of a sudden, bam, it just hits right into it. And there's some really cool stuff. They released the poster, as you can see if you're watching right here.
Yep.
We've also shared it on our Facebook page, again, Proton Pack at Facebook. So
Proton Pack Podcast.
Oh, did I say Proton Pack? I've left that out. I just said the Proton Pack.
It's funny because they sort of did the thing that Avengers did with Endgame, where the first half of the trailer is just recap of the whole Skywalker series. And then the second half of the trailer, so you only get a minute of new footage, is stuff from this actual movie.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. So December 20th, let's do this, man. I'm stoked.
Yep.
Very excited for it.
All right. Our third trailer of the week is something that actually just launched today. And it is the new Joker trailer. Todd Phillips, Joaquin Phoenix tells us a little bit more about the story, what's going on. And,
Sorry, I'm trying to time it to do a soundbite so I'm not interrupting.
That's okay. I'm still not on board with it.
No? This trailer didn't do it for you?
No, it's...
So it's no Heath Ledger Joker.
It's not.
I liked the trailer because I went in before it with the first trailer. I thought the first trailer looked like a piece of I don't have my censor button, but it was definitely a piece of. So.
Well, part of it is just what Todd Phillips said, sticking in the back of my mind that, they're not using any of the source material. They're not pulling from anything from the comics. It's basically a brand new version of a story about a guy who could become Joker. Then just make a different movie. Don't make it Joker.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think they should have made this the Joker. I mean, you kind of get the gist in the trailers of what leads the Joker to become so demented in this version. It was a guy that was bullied. You see him like in the beginning of the trailer making faces at a kid, and the mom's like, "Leave my kid alone." And then he's getting beat up, and he gets to go on what Robert De Niro looks like he's playing a Johnny Carson type.
Yeah, talk show host.
Yeah. They bring him on to, Arthur to come on and do jokes, and he's so bad that they rip on him and it hurts his feelings, and then he embraces this madness.
And Joaquin Phoenix, he's a great actor. You can definitely see in the trailer the difference between, him as Arthur.
If you're watching,
see, we're timing it perfectly. Him as Arthur, who's unsure. I don't know what that was, Tone. To where he's the Joker character, where he's confident and sure of himself. Again, just calling it a Joker movie is, I think, the biggest thing that takes me out of it.
Yeah, maybe they couldn't call it Arthur because then you think of Dudley Moore and those movies from the 80s. But I'm with you. They shouldn't tie it to the whole Batman thing. Well, they don't. But the whole universe, it'll be interesting. I like this trailer though. The trailer's got my interests.
Movie comes out October 4th, so you don't have to wait long to see it. I probably will see it in the theaters just because I'm a nerd like that. And, and I could be totally surprised and absolutely love the movie. But at this point, I'm going in with super low expectations.
Well, that's the thing, man. Go into a movie like this with really low expectations, and then if it ends up being awesome, you're like, all right. I did that with Hobbs and Shaw. I thought, looks kind of but I'll go see it, and it was awesome.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. All right. Staying in the DC Warner Brothers camp, but moving on to a DC movie I'm actually pretty excited about is the James Gunn written and directed Suicide Squad. And we have another actor who has joined the cast, everybody's favorite, Nathan Fillion. Nathan Fillion. Nathan Fillion is joining the cast. We already know that we've got Jai Courtney returning. Joel Kinnaman is coming back as Rick Flag. And then Margot Robbie.
Rick Flag?
Yep.
I thought you said Ric Flair.
Not sure how much her Harley Quinn's going to be in the movie, but there's also Idris Elba as well. The other name that's being thrown around to have a part in it is Thor director Taika Waititi.
Yeah, I saw that. He was being added, which, hey, I'm all for it. Should be fun with James Gunn behind it. Ain't another world time, take another story. I didn't have that ready.
That's okay.
It looks like, it sounded like it's going to be good. It's got to be better than that Birds of Prey, because that thing does not look good.
Or the last Suicide Squad movie. That was awful. But yeah, the one DC Warner Brothers property I'm actually looking forward to at this point. All right, moving on. Unless you have been living under a rock for the past week and a half, you probably have heard that Sony and Disney were unable to reach a deal on Spider-Man. And so to give a little backstory, back in the 80s, Marvel was in a little bit of trouble, and so they basically sold off the movie rights to a number of characters. Spider-Man and all of his universe went over to Sony. All of the X-Men and Fantastic Four went to Fox. And then over the last few years, Sony has been working with Marvel and Disney to allow Spider-Man to be back into the MCU. And that's where you get the Tom Holland versions with Homecoming and Far From Home. And then obviously he appeared in the last couple Avengers movies, as well as Captain America Civil War. They've been working on trying to keep Spider-Man, that version of Spider-Man, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And apparently negotiations fell through, and at least at this point, doesn't look like that's going to happen. Tom Holland and Mark Webb are going back over to Sony, where they're going to produce the next couple, Spider-Man movies, but he will no longer be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe moving forward, unless things change.
No, seriously, nothing. Hey, come on, I'm joking.
We hope you're joking there, Spidey.
We do. Apparently it came down to money. The previous deal was that for the Spider-Man standalone movies, Marvel got 5% of the first day revenues, and that was it. In this new deal, what they were trying to work out was that Marvel would co-finance 50-50 with Sony, pay half of the budget to produce the movie, but of course in return would get 50% of the profits back. And Sony wasn't having it. They seemed to think that Spider-Man can live on his own without Marvel's help, which I think Marvel was a huge part of what made him so successful in this iteration. And Kevin Feige, who is the head honcho over at Marvel Studios, even had a hand in the Venom movie with Tom Hardy. And hopefully they come to an agreement, maybe a 75-25 split, something along those lines.
I think that'd be good. Disney makes enough. I think they could afford that.
Yeah. Or at the very least, push the current deal to one more Spider-Man MCU movie, let them close it out with a third one, and then go your separate ways. But again,
I think I read something too, and you never know if these are true things. They're all behind the scenes. They don't all come out and say it, but I think like Sony said that they would want something super ridiculous to get the whole rights of Spider-Man, which I think Disney should just pay. Just buy him, bring him home, be done with it.
They've got the money. They've got every other character in their repertoire back aside from Spider-Man, and those.
That's a big one, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Hulk. You'll never see the Hulk get his own standalone movie. Sorry for the squeaky chair. But, Universal still owns the film rights to that, too. So.
That's right. I think the biggest thing and what made Sony so cocky is that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse did so well and has some Oscar nominations. So they figured, we'll do fine on our own.
And the thing is, it probably will, especially with Tom Holland. Now, if Tom Holland walks and doesn't do it, then it's a new ball game.
Well, he and Mark Webb are contracted for at least 2 more movies. So I think we'll be okay there. But at the same time, it'd be nice to have them playing together nicely.
Yeah. And for those that don't understand the height, the severity of this, of not having Spider-Man made in the MCU, here's the thing. Now with Sony being fully involved with it and no Disney or anything, he can't reference Tony Stark. He can't reference anything that happened. I don't think Happy can be in it. is pretty much on his own. So everything that happened in the last 2 movies didn't happen, or you just can't talk about it as if it didn't.
Or they just hope we forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. It wants to be dumb. Like it's kind of like when Disney got cocky when they couldn't buy Fox at first, and they told us that nobody remembers mutants, aka the X-Men. That's not true, but that's kind of their way of doing it. And yeah, we're all going to go see Spider-Man, but kind of lame to see a Tom Holland Spider-Man not being able to reference his connection with Tony Stark. So now I almost see them probably taking Harley, which is the boy from Iron Man 3, that was at the end of Endgame, and I think they might end up having to go with the Iron Lad storyline and get him to be the next Iron Man, because it seemed like they were kind of building that with Peter Parker, but for now, that will not be what's going on.
So. Right. Or they'll do the Ironheart storyline, which was a female, younger girl Iron Man.
I'd be okay with if they did that with his daughter. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, okay. Definitely. Now, with one of the things...
Really awful news, though. I mean, this one... Oh, man, this gets a Darth Vader. That was just some crap news. It sucked.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a bummer. We were hoping that that world would fold a little bit more into Marvel Studios, but at the same time, with Spider-Man going back over to Sony, I would expect with Venom 2 coming out, we have Gollum, Andy Serkis directing the next Venom movie. Hey, maybe we'll get Tom Holland, Spider-Man, and Venom back together.
I think you're going to have to do that. I think it seems like the most logical way that if you're going to do it, Sony now knows what the timeline is for Disney and stuff. And well, if you're not going to share Spidey, you might as well just go out there and whore him out. Just put it out there.
Yep.
And we're going to go see it. As long as you don't make it something like the really wonderful Dark Phoenix, you'll be in good shape.
All right. Speaking of Venom 2, at the end of Venom, the first one,
we'll make a sequel with Woody from Cheers.
We got the mid-credit scene that introduced Cletus Cassidy. If you're a comic book fan, you know him as the deranged serial killer who becomes Carnage. Well, the cinematographer for Venom 2 has confirmed that Woody Harrelson is coming back as that character playing Carnage. I mean, that's sort of and the sky is blue type news story, but it's nice to know that we at least know a little bit of the direction that Venom 2 is headed towards.
It was kind of funny. This is just kind of you're not going to get this reference, and I don't know if any of my coworkers will listen to this show, but that picture you have right now of Woody, it looks like one of my old managers at Thornton, Kim. And I'm only doing that face because, I mean, it strikingly looks like Kim. Like when she got mad at me one time, she went full Carnage like that.
I was going to say, she become Carnage?
Well, she did at the time, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You listen to this, Kim, which I know you don't. Hi, Carnage.
Yeah, that would be awkward if she did.
Yeah, well, she's in Nebraska now, so she'd just be like, hey, I listened to your thing and you called me Carnage. No, I didn't call you Carnage. I just said the picture of Woody Harrelson looks like, yeah, that's it. So,
Potato.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And then finally, the last story in movie news is we're getting more and more casting for James Wan's Mortal Kombat reboot. Hard R looks like it's going to be good. Casting wise, they're doing really well. And they just added Shin Han and Hiroyuki Sanada to play.
Oh, yeah, Shin-Wan and Hiroyuki.
to play Shang Tsung and Scorpion, respectively. Shin Han, if you remember, was the Chinese businessman from Dark Knight. He's the one that Bruce Wayne went overseas, captured, brought back, and then Joker basically tried burning him on a pile of money.
No, yeah, take that.
And Hiroyuki Sanada, if you remember 47 Ronin, played basically Keanu Reeves' mentor, the guy who found him and turned him into the samurai warrior that he was.
Ooh.
Bum, bum, bum. The other casting news that came out is Jessica McNamee. Don't know who she is. Apparently was in the Meg. She'll be Sonya Blade. And then we have Josh Lawson from something called Bombshell as Kano. So the cast is definitely being rounded out.
I'm excited for it. I mean, it's gonna be definitely a true adapt, as true as it can be to the story, and it's gonna have
Fatality.
Just fatal.
Just fantastic.
Your might.
It just didn't drop it. How about
Ultimate fatality.
I don't think it'll have that, but
Just regular fatal.
just regular.
Fatality.
That works.
There you go. All right. That does it for movie news. Don't blow your wad on the Mortal Kombat sound bites just yet, because we are now getting into video games.
That's funny. I just actually closed that out. But here you go, video game intro.
Hey man, you want to play some video games?
Come get some.
Oh, video games.
Yep. So we have a fourth trailer of the week this week, just because it was such a big, interesting week, not only with D23, but Gamescom as well. And we got a trailer for the Mortal Kombat Combat Pack DLC with the next series of characters that are coming out. And I'm excited. Nightwolf was like, and then Shang Tsung, okay. But you get Sindel, Spawn, Joker, and then, of course, Arnold as the T-800.
It's delayed.
Of course.
Hasta la vista, baby.
What's cool, too, is Arnold Schwarzenegger will be voicing the Terminator. The Joker, I don't like the look of the Joker. He's kind of goofy.
I'm hoping maybe they'll have some different skins for him that make him look a little bit more of what we're used to. But I can't wait to see his fatalities.
I'm looking forward to that too. So just a quick drop on those. So if you guys, if you follow Mortal Kombat, or if you have Mortal Kombat 11, great game. They're always updating that. You can pick up these characters. They did have a timeline of when they were all coming out. No, I can't find it. There it is. So, right now you can download Shang Tsung and the Nightwolf. They're $5.99 a pop. The Terminator T-800 drops October 8th. Sindel drops November 26th. I know you're looking forward to that the most. Joker's January 28th of 2020. And Spawn drops March 17th, 2020. That is Combat Fighter Pack 1. You can purchase them at $5.99 a pop for a character, or you can get the skins and everything for $29.99 for the additional add-on, unless you bought the deluxe version. If you bought the deluxe version in stores, then you have access to all these characters already. So, well, as they're released, they're not. You can download them.
Right.
So, just want to, emphasize that so no one thinks like, oh, well, that idiot on the Proton Pack said I could download it. I would say,
You son of a bitch.
that's not what I said. So,
Boom shakalaka.
So, yeah, that's exciting. If you have Mortal Kombat 11, definitely worth that Combat Pack DLC.
absolutely.
Yep.
We said that tonight.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All
I
right.
listen to a lot of podcasts, and I always try to pick up on things they say a lot. And one of the sports ones I listen to in the morning, they say, what I find is funny? No, What do you find so funny? They never tell you anything funny.
It's not that funny.
Mm-mm.
All right.
What grinds my gears moment, I guess.
There you go. Moving on from Mortal Kombat 11 to the next big story to come out of Gamescom is Google Stadia. It is a pseudo console that I've been looking forward to. Essentially,
Yeah.
allows you to play video games directly through your Chrome browser. You don't need a big, expensive console that has a bunch of upgraded features and things along those lines. All of it is handled in the cloud over at Google, and there is a lot of information coming out. Makes it sound pretty damn cool. Not only are we getting some new games that have been announced for it, including the highly anticipated Cyberpunk 2077. We've got
Keanu Reeves.
Yep, Mortal Kombat 11, Attack on Titan 2, Destroy All Humans, among others.
Yeah, Destroy All Humans is a lot of fun. This is a remake on the PS2 and Xbox original one, so should be fun.
Nice. One of the biggest things to come out, which looks really interesting, is they're working towards having 1,000 player servers that can host crazy battle royale games. I mean, imagine playing Fortnite with 1,000 people on a map.
I couldn't imagine playing Fortnite anytime, but if I was to play, that's a hell of a lot of people. That's a lot of cheddar.
The other nice thing is that when games become available on a release date, you have access to play it at midnight that night. You don't have to wait for it. You don't have to wait for it to download. You don't have to stand in line over at GameStop. It is there and ready and waiting for you.
Yeah, plus GameStop is almost on the... So this might be the way to go.
Exactly. Launch details. It comes out. Was just looking at it. Now I am not seeing it again. November of this year. You can get the Founders Edition for $129.99, which includes the Night Blue controller, Chromecast Ultra, 3-month subscription to Stadia Pro, a 3-month Buddy Pass to give to a friend, and then access to all of Destiny 2, which is a great deal. I mean, if you go out and buy an Xbox or a PlayStation 4 right now, it'll cost you $300, $400, $500.
Yep.
Stadia Pro on its own will cost only $9.99 per month, so it gives you access to play all of the games online. And then, as I mentioned, you can purchase those games day of. Don't have to worry about them loading, taking hours to load. They're just there, ready, and waiting for you.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing. And it seems to be where the next gen of consoles are going to go anyhow. I know Xbox is releasing a discless, I almost sound like I said dickless.
Yeah, you did.
It's late night here. What did I tell you? I'm going to say dickless. Diskless drives, so that way it is all about the streaming. It's about getting their Xbox Game Pass, so that way you can just start streaming the games. Now, the only bad thing with the Game Pass is you still have to download the games, so still got to have the hard drive for it. And I mean, granted, you can just turn around and just delete them. That's not a big deal or anything, but at the same time, that's kind of a pain in the butt. It's not something you'd necessarily want to go through and do. But
yeah, with what Google's doing, I see that being the future of gaming.
Yeah, so we'll see. That launches in November, so we shall have some type of review.
Yeah, again, right around the corner, not too far away. All right, the next story in video game news.
Oh, yes, this one, right?
Welcome to Mario Kart.
Yep. The highly anticipated Mario Kart Tour, which is available on iOS and Android, so it's a mobile game, got its official release date, which is September 25th of this year. That is less than 1 month from now. You will be able to get to play Mario Kart Tour.
Yeah, this one, so the Nintendo mobile games so far, have been a lot of fun. I know it's all about easy access. Like you have Mario Run, Dr. Mario, and then Pokemon's been a big hit.
Yeah.
So with Mario Kart Tour, the goal of it is you can steer, drift, and drive with just one finger. And the goal is to race people across the world, and they're going to do real-time locations. So when I mean real-time, it's just really real locations. So if you want to race in Paris, you can race in Paris. You want to race on the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, you can do all that. We look forward to getting this game here hopefully very soon. Would be, we're only a couple weeks away, and you can pre-order it now on Android and Apple. So that's definitely something you're going to want to, if you've been a fan of the Mario Kart series. Expect a little differences than what you're used to, but definitely I would anticipate the fun and everything is going to be there. So,
I'm sure.
Mario!
They also said that, you can pre-order it, which is really just telling it to download as soon as it's available. It is a free game to begin with, but does incorporate in-game purchases. So, if you want to, upgrade your characters, or your carts, or maybe get more levels, you'll have to put a few bucks down.
Yeah. It's kind of the same process with like Dr. Mario. You got so many levels you have access to, and then you got to start paying for all this other stuff. So, Nintendo Mobile, here we go.
Yep. All right. Moving on from Nintendo to Capcom. Mega Man is getting a new Legacy collection coming out based around Mega Man Zero and ZX collections coming to PS4, Switch, Xbox One, and PC. We've had, 2 Legacy collections prior to this? And Three? No kidding.
Yeah, because we had Mega Man Legacy Collection 1, which only covered the original 6. So you had Mega Man 1 through 6. And then they released Legacy Collection 2, which then had 7, 8, 9, 10, and it only had those 4 games. So they kind of got chintzy and gave you 6 on one, 4 on the other, but charged the same price. And then you had the X collection, which was, all the Mega Man collections thus far have been fantastic. So,
yeah. And, if you listen to this podcast, we're huge Mega Man fans. This is one that's definitely worth it. Mega Man Zero was just a fun series to play.
Yeah, it really takes place in the vein of Mega Man X. Zero was the other character, and that kind of spins off. And there's a lot of good games I've never played. So a lot of them were on the Nintendo DS, or was it the DS or the Game Boy Advance? It was on a portable Nintendo. I think it was the Advance, actually. But either way, I'm looking forward to getting a chance to play these games. And a lot of that, I'm sure.
Yeah, they were.
They're so damn.
They weren't the easiest games in the world. You do have to wait a little bit. It doesn't come out till January 21st of 2020, and it'll set you back about $29.99.
Or just a little hint. I like to tell our listeners this. You want to be a little thrifty. If you can hold out and don't buy it on day one and you wait, Capcom is notorious for splitting the cost of their games down to nothing, so you can wait a while. Like if you ever watch like the Legacy collections and stuff, they're $30, but you might catch it one week where it's $7 or something. So keep an eye out for it. But if you need it day one, January 21st, you be playing it.
There you go. And then finally, our last story of this little bit longer than usual podcast. We're
even got little sound point to trickle us in here.
When we talked a number of episodes back about the Sega Genesis Mini coming out and all of the titles that were announced leading up to it, one that we were really hoping for was the Sega Genesis version of Aladdin. And it wasn't included on there. We were a little on the bummed side, but don't fret. Help is here.
You're watching it too. You're like, what's he moving his thumb to? This was announced last night. This was leaked. GameStop, of all things, which Of course, I already teased that, GameStop's having their own problems. But they, they had a Gamescon or a GameStop Expo, and Disney teased off. It's called the Aladdin. It's kind of a goofy name. It's Aladdin and Lion King Disney Classics Collection. Didn't know a whole lot until later this afternoon. It will be available for PC, the Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation. One game, I'm going to read down the games, and you're going to notice the one is really...
The glaring omission?
Glaring omission here. So the current game list for this game, you are going to get Disney's Aladdin, the Sega Genesis one that Kris just alluded to that was not on the Sega Mini. So great job by adding that. You'll be getting the Game Boy and Super Game Boy version. It's the same one. You can just play in color, black and white. Never played that game. Can't imagine it's going to be all that great. Because most Game Boy games don't transition well on the big screen.
No.
Disney's Aladdin Final Cut. Don't know what that is. They asked, but they didn't say. And then there's Disney's Aladdin Trade Show demo. It's a demo version that has not been publicly available since 1993. My thought is these are going to be like the Sega Genesis, like different takes on the Sega Genesis.
Right.
The omitting one, the only game, and they had said when it got announced, the Super Nintendo one, which was published by Capcom, completely different game, but a lot of fun, has unfortunately been omitted from this because the games that are going to be on here were made from Virgin, and at the time Disney had a partnership with Virgin. So now that Disney has their own game studios, they're able to get these properties and do it because Virgin's not its own thing anymore as far as publishing. So there you go. That's why you get this collection. And if you were a big Lion King fan too, you get the Sega Genesis version and the Super Nintendo version, as well as the Game Boy version and the Super Game Boy version. Never played anything but the Super Nintendo version. It was a hell of a lot of fun. Which version did you play back in the 90s, my friend?
Well, the funny thing is I never played any of the Lion King games, but I loved the Sega Genesis version of Aladdin, and in fact preferred that to the Super Nintendo version.
That works. That seems to be the most general take from the comments from the announcement is, everyone's pretty much like, the Super Nintendo one sucked.
Yeah.
I liked it, but I liked the Genesis one a hell of a lot better as well. The graphics were much better, the bonus levels and stuff. I mean, I think this is a nice little surprise. Kind of weird that they're waiting for the fall to release it. I think summer would have probably been a better opportunity considering Aladdin was in May, Lion King was in July. You could have got it out somewhere in there to kind of coincide with both, but hey, if you're a kid of the 90s and you want to live your old nostalgia self and you want to play it, or you want to get your kiddos into it, or girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever, there you go. Comes out in fall. Don't know a whole lot more to it, but they are going to have upscale graphics. You can play the original builds too. Filters for visual enhancement, customizable controls, interactive game viewer that lets you watch pre-recorded play and jump into the game. So if you're never going to beat it, but you want to see how it ends, you can fast forward and just see how it ends. Spoiler alert, Aladdin wins. Mufasa dies.
No.
What? There's an explorable museum of behind-the-scenes development assets, including interviews, art gallery, music player, and I mean, who doesn't want to hear this kind of awesome music? I mean... Yeah, that's good shit.
16-bit MIDI.
Yeah, you can get your jam on, man. You can make a little love to that. A little circle of life right there.
Speaking of circle of life, it is now 11:40 my time, which would be 12:40 your time. We've been at
future, man.
Yep,
we gotta go back to the future.
We've been doing this for about an hour and a half now, and
we told you it was long, kids.
Yep.
You didn't listen.
But we had a good time. Fewer technical difficulties than expected, which is good.
Yeah, there weren't many.
Exactly. As always, we love the feedback from you guys. Subscribe, download, stream. Let us know what you think. Check out our social media, facebook.com/Proton Pack Podcast, Instagram as well at Proton Pack Podcast. And let us know what you think. How did we do in our first live, unedited, raw Proton Pack Podcast?
Let us know. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. We will talk to you next week. It won't be as long. Or maybe it will. We don't know. Until then, later, Gators.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. Woo!
Mommy, where's Fluffy?
Goodbye.